together. So you will walk away from this session with a profile and at least the beginnings of some fleshed out sections about yourself, which is good because we can then turn around and model that to our students when you start networking in with them on the Portfolio Network. So that's kind of our agenda for today. We've got a brief introduction to the platform itself for people who are completely new to Portfolium. And then as we're workshopping our profiles toward the end of the session, I'll also share some materials that I use in class with my own students. Feel free to adapt them, steal them, adapt them, whatever you would like to do with that material. I'm happy to share. I guess with that, we're going to take it away, Edlin. I mean, just as a brief introduction, if you didn't already know, Portfolium is a platform that houses e-portfolios and allows its users to network with one another. So it's a little bit like a combination of both Facebook and LinkedIn, but it's student focused and academically focused. So and we were talking about this before everybody got here. Some of us have already been doing this kind of activity in class before Portfolium and before e-portfolios were widely in use. For years, I have collected paper folders with writing portfolios as a final examination at the end of the Composition 1 and 2 sequence in my courses. So portfolio teaching, I know that we're here to learn a tool, Portfolium, but I do want to acknowledge that portfolio teaching is a pedagogy that's been with us for a long time. This is just a tool that allows us to transition that into a digital space and also use that portfolio to network in with internal and external audiences like, future employers potentially, transfer institutions if students are applying for scholarship or admission to certain programs, they can use their portfolios that way. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for portfolio compilation, but then also dissemination and sharing. Okay, now you can take it away, Edlin.
Oh, no worries. No, I just wanted to go back to, so we've been doing Portfolio on our campus since 2012. And we kind of revamped the initiative in 2018-19 with the idea of we wanted to shift from career portfolios to more academic portfolios and kind of change the culture on our campus of why we're reusing portfolios. This idea of bringing access of technology, of reflection to all students, not just necessarily students that specifically work with portfolios, right? But to all students. And we really landed on this amazing platform, which is Portfolium, which is what PAC Campus uses. One of the only platforms out there that is threefold, like Melissa was saying. It is not only an academic portfolio, it also is a professional networking opportunity for students. And it also gives them this opportunity so to network, and then a social almost network for them, because it gives them an opportunity to connect with other students, not just within our within Palo Alto College, but outside of our network. Right now on Portfolium, there are over 5 million users. Of which over 3,000 different institutions, not just in the United States, but internationally. So our students get to connect with students in Singapore, in Sydney, show off their work that they're doing in our classroom with people from all over the world, and also with companies from all over the world. Some of the amazing features of this particular platform. So I do want you to think kind of like LinkedIn on steroids. It's very familial, so it's really easy to use. it integrates with Canvas, which is another really awesome feature. I will show you guys later on today how we can put in what's called the Folio Tab, which is basically a tab that goes right inside your Canvas course, and students can click out. They can add projects right from within Canvas, so they don't have to externally get out from their course if it's in your course. The other thing that makes it very easy for us is that it is free for students for life. So once they create this portfolio, they take it with them, as Melissa was talking about. There are many institutions, transfer institutions, that students are transferring out right now, that this is the platform that they're using. I know UTSA has pockets where they're using Portfolium, Texas State, Texas A&M. I couldn't remember our college that's right across the street, Texas A&M, and several other big universities in Texas and outside of Texas are using it. It also has unlimited storage, which for us, I know Mallory, you're probably like, woohoo! That means students can upload all sorts of different artifacts, as Melissa has in this slide. They can do papers, photographs, videos. That's huge. So students are doing a lot of their, like students that have practicum courses, or some of our PTE programs like nursing, and some of our students in the vet tech program, cosmetology. They're uploading videos, time lapses. It really allows for a much more creative approach of collection of artifacts to display skills. Sound files, slideshows, links, YouTube links. So for example, a lot of our faculty, I know we have students go watch TEDx videos, or maybe watch plays, or watch performances, and we want them to reflect on that. And maybe they have a paper, or that's an artifact, or maybe we have them go out and put a skill that they're learning in classroom, like in a lab, right? That they have to go out and actually prove the formula, right? And they can actually have the ability to not then just have a paper that goes along with it, but then also showcase a video of how they got from X, Y to Z, right? And let's see, students can use Portfolium in a number of ways. And when we first began this initiative back in 2019, the idea was that we wanted students to get introduced into and have an introduction into portfolio work, what portfolios were, and get their hands on the tool. But we didn't want it to just be another tool that they had to use. We wanted it to actually be part of their learning process. We wanted it to be something they carry with them from class to class. So students were introduced, and are still introduced, to the network early on through their EDUC 1300 course, which is a class that all students, especially first incoming students, they start off at Palo Alto College, they have to take that EDUC 1300. They're introduced, they create portfolios, they create these accounts in there. So what you will find is that a lot of the students in your classes right now might already have a Portfolium account, maybe that they haven't engaged in as much. We have many students, the average students that began in our initiative are leaving with anywhere from at least 15 to 30, as many as 100 artifacts already in their Portfolium as they're transferring out. So students probably have already a good number of artifacts and projects that are in their Portfolium. Someone has a question, I'll let you answer. I'll let you keep an eye out on the chat. Is that okay, Melissa?
Yeah.
And we'll answer that in a second. Let me just get through this slide really quick, and then this might answer it. Yes. You can definitely, sorry, will you just go back one more slide? Sorry, Melissa. One more.
Sure.
So we've used it as, Melissa has it here. We've used it. We're using it to document experiential learning. We can use it to post class activities. We can create professional and creative portfolios, like a lot of our music students or theater students. They put all kinds of, their portfolio looks maybe a little different because it has performances on there. It has slideshows. A lot of our theater students are doing slideshows of the lighting design that they've done in projects. They have YouTube posts of we went all online last semester. So all the performances were produced, they were rehearsed, and designed by students. So a lot of them are showcasing some of that there. That's one example. Our teacher ed program, they create portfolios because that's actually what they use from all their classroom in-class experience that they have. We have our writing portfolios, right? They can be used in different ways. They can be used for reflection. So even though we don't traditionally have capstone courses, we're having opportunities to have capstone projects within courses. Let's see, for networking with an outside audience. So this is one of the biggest things right now. In the next slide, Melissa will show you some of what the data is sharing. So because it is a public-facing platform, students have an opportunity to connect within the platform. So nobody contacts them outside of the Portfolio network. No personal information is shared. But we have companies like NASA, we have companies like Microsoft, Amazon has employed many of our students through Portfolio. But DreamWorks, those are just some of the companies that have had hits on our PAC Portfolio network. And students are able to be contacted, called for interviews, and are able to get jobs that way as well. So Portfolio is working, and it's working because students are getting jobs. They're writing more. This is really exciting, I think, from a professor perspective. We're giving students much more space and a creative way to articulate their learning and start to connect the dots from the courses that they're taking. They are reflecting on their learning process. It deepens our access to their learning process, right? So I'm able to look, and this has happened many times, where I will look into a student's portfolio and I will see something that they're doing in their English class, or I'll see something that they're doing in their learning frameworks class, and we're able to connect these dots and help guide them through their next semesters. It offers several different modalities, as you guys already saw, of uploading and showcasing these skills that they're learning in classroom because of this ability to upload pictures, to upload videos. It easily integrates. It allows access to application-based learning. So we're really getting now deep into what are the skills we want students to learn in our classroom? How can we help them articulate these skills that they are learning in our classroom? And then Portfolio, actually every project that they post has this ability where they can tag skills, right, that they specifically worked on this project. So just that idea of them starting to make that connection and then having artifacts that support that they have indeed learned those skills. Right now, this data was taken about a couple weeks ago, but we have over 3,600 users on this is just the Palo Alto College Network. We've showcased over 20,000 skills. We've had over 113,000 views. We've made I'm sure it's over 3,600 connections now. We've collected 187,000 data points. We've uploaded close to 6,000 projects. We have 2,283 company follows. Those are companies that are following us, where students are also following them. Over 2,283, and there have been over 2,300 reported jobs and internships with this initiative, and since we started using Portfolio. All right, now I know we had a couple questions, so I promise I will answer this. Was this presented at SPC? I am not sure, Ms. Guevara, if I don't know what platform you guys are using. I know that right now this is the platform that Palo Alto College is using. We have presented to district at this point too, and they're very excited about what we're doing here. But I'm not quite sure what SPC is doing. You can use it with Canvas assignments. It's really easy, and we'll show you how to do it in a few minutes here. But it's very easy. It can have an integration internally. Like if your college wasn't using it as a whole, that's okay too, because students could have assignments that they are doing and share with you the URL. It's easy to use like other URLs. If they've ever turned in a URL, you can see it within your grade book, and we can show you how to do that.
So did the Alamo colleges buy it for all the colleges, or was it just something for Palo Alto, the ePortfolio platform?
So right now, the ePortfolio platform is, I know that's a tool that we decided to incorporate, and that's the platform we decided to use. I'm not sure about other campuses. I can't answer that, but it is free. So you can use it as a professor, and your students can use it. It is free. Truly, some of the paid features, what it allows is for more an administrative back end access into data, like this data that I just gave you right now, right? It allows for other features, like we have pathways that we're doing. But if you wanted to use it as a professor, it is free for you to use, and it is free for your students to use too. Does that help? Does that answer?
Questions?
So any student can use it for free. Any professor can use it for free. Once they graduate, they still have access to their account. That's what you're saying.
Yep.
So they can still use this to find jobs or continue with their schooling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for anybody, basically. It's a free platform.
It is.
But what y'all do is y'all purchase it so that you could integrate it to your Canvas. Is that what y'all did at Palo Alto?
That's one of the features. Yeah, that's one of the features. It makes it, yeah.
Okay.
But as you will see, we actually tested out the platform for our first semester. We wanted to test it first, and so we used the non-paid version for our first semester of our beta, and it's very easy to use that way too.
All right. So if I wanted to ask, who would I ask? Like somebody in Canvas Tools, the Canvas Tools people, they would know if it was purchased, right? The people that are Canvas.
Do you have an idea for that question, Melissa? I would maybe start off with, are you guys using portfolios at all? Is that an initiative on your campus, or?
Well, I have never even heard of this, so I was just thinking of some things I could do with it next semester when I go back in person.
Let me get back to you on that, Elizabeth.
Okay.
I will promise I will drop my email, and I will see if I can find a contact for you to ask.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the more integrated it is with what you're already doing, the better. If that makes sense. Yeah. And apologies for the slides moving back and forth. I've got a sticky mouse over here that doesn't seem to want to cooperate. If there aren't any other questions, I think what we can transition into is actually setting up. For some of you, this may be a trial account. For others, you may just take what you set up today and run with it. So here's where the rubber meets the road. You'll want to go to portfolium.com. And Edlin is going to walk you through how to set up your Portfolium account. After that, I'll lead everybody through an exercise that I do in my classes when my students haven't set up their profile yet. What I've found is it's good for faculty too. And while Edlin's talking, I'm also going to be dropping some materials in the chat. Just some attachments for you to grab as they come. So, Edlin.
Yes. So what I have added is right now, since a lot of you guys are new to Portfolium, and Kevin, yours is a little different. Maybe we can show yours because we've already put the LTI in your course, right, Kevin? You have the Folio tab in your account, in your Canvas course.
Yes. So.
Yes. So yours will look a little bit different. Has anybody else, I don't think, Gina, are you at PAC as well? Are you at Palo Alto College?
No, I'm over at SAC.
Oh, okay. All right. So what I will do is, if you guys look, you have that. I have a how to create a portfolio fall. Okay. And we're going to follow that template. Which is a step-by-step that we also use with students. So this could be a template that you guys could use if you wanted to have your students try out this platform. This is an external access, not from within Canvas. So it's an external access into Portfolio. All right. So if you look up at that, the first step, I'm going to go ahead and open it up myself so you guys can see, is you want to go to portfolium.com. And we have the students, the first step actually for them to write down their ACES account because it's really important. It's really good if you can use your alamo.edu email. That's what we tell all the students. If eventually it is something that your college wants to use, it can aggregate data a lot easier if it connects it to alamo.edu. So
Lynn, do you want to take a turn screen sharing so they can see what they're doing?
Yes.
I'm going to stop.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. And if someone wants to share their screen as we're doing this, it's a little bit more helpful. Can you guys see my screen right now where it says portfolium.com? Do you guys see that? So this is the template you should be following along. So we'll go right to step 2. And then once you guys are there, you, for your purposes, again, you could choose to use your private email if you prefer. But I would highly recommend, especially again, if your college does end up adapting or using this platform, it's easier to integrate. You'd have to have it switched to Alamo to have any administrative access, like if you wanted to create. So it's easier to use your Alamo. But if you would like to use your personal, you can. Okay? So that's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an account. So who wanted to share? Who had their, I'll stop sharing. Okay, good. I think we made it where anybody can share. So you can go ahead, Elizabeth, if you want.
So right now I put my address, my email, and I put what college I was associated. So it did pop up.
Okay,
So
good.
now I'm looking for these motorcycles, which I hate these pictures. Like you're always questioning.
I know, right?
Like they're like trick questions.
We always have so much fun with this when this pops up in class for the students.
Did,
Gosh.
is it not letting you
I-
in? Is there another
No, I'm
robot that
like-
maybe?
I keep telling I'm not a robot, and I'm trying to see if I can make this a little smaller. I think it's like, oh, except in close, that's why. Verify.
Okay, then you're gonna have to open up.
We're not convinced you're not a robot. Are you serious? Like
You have
they're all
failed
great
to
pictures.
convince them,
So now
madam.
we just set this up then?
Yeah, so now you put your name. And then down at the bottom, it will ask you like the account type, which is great. So you can actually put
I mean, well, I don't know what I put. I'm a
administrator or you school
member.
faculty member. Yep. Confirm now. And there you go. Now, Gina, I don't know if you were trying to follow along. Did you encounter any problems?
No, I actually have an account. I've used this on the student side during my master's program, so this is pretty familiar.
Oh, did you use Portfolium?
We did, yeah.
Okay, that's great.
So you already have an account then somewhere.
Did you use it at St. Mary's in graduate school or?
No, so I actually went for my master's in nursing, it was an online college out of Connecticut, but they were using Portfolium, so I have like a student side account with my personal email, yeah.
That's so crazy because, you know, this is, they sold the company to Canvas probably, I don't know when you were there, but in 2019. So that's
Yeah,
where
so it
they
wasn't
became,
integrated with Canvas when I was
Yeah.
doing it, but this is amazing, much better.
All right. So this is where you can, don't worry, Elizabeth, if you don't have a resume you want to upload right now, I can show you how you can upload it later. It's very simple to upload a resume. I highly
do, but it's
recommend
probably
that.
like in another computer because I'm using the campus one and my resume's in another one because it's
No
applied for a
worries.
job.
And that's okay. What's really neat about this is that it'll scan it and it'll populate it as skills on your Portfolium account. So you definitely would, I tell all faculty, you definitely want to upload your resume. It really makes your...
Let me see if I can find it. Will it look good in my computer?
Yeah, it would look for it. But don't worry about it. Let's just go ahead and move forward. And
Okay.
it's super simple. I'll show you how to do it later.
You can just upload a file though, right?
That's what
I'll do. I'll just upload a file.
okay. And so if you go to next, it'll just prompt you through a couple different, okay, there you go. Now you're at your homepage. Now you see where it says add a resume. Later
Right.
you can go in there and it's that simple. You can go up there, you upload it and it's that easy. So now that we're here, you can see it looks very familiar. For those of you guys that have LinkedIn, it might look a little like LinkedIn. I think for us, it always dates us. It's a little bit of an older generation, right? It looks like Facebook for me, like, very, very similar. Very easy to navigate, which is one of the things we really like about the platform. You don't have to have any HTML experience. It already has these pre-built templates, and it looks pretty very quickly. If you would like, one of the main things before maybe Dr. Elston starts her portion is, I'd like you, if you can go and change your privacy settings, that way it can just be easier
Where would
for
it
students.
be?
So if you see where the me is, that's how you always get to your to some of those main settings. Go to settings, and then you go. And this is one of the things we talk to students, because we want to make sure that their privacy is where we can see it if they're turning in projects. So go to where it says privacy, and now do you see where it says only allow people I'm connected with to view my profile? For students, if they click that, they can do that. It keeps it very, very private. Nobody can see it. And in order for them to turn in any assignments, they'd have to use this link. They just created this for our college, actually. We were the ones that said, hey, we want something in case students aren't ready to publish their accounts yet, and they're still working on it, a way that they could turn in assignments, or where we could as professor view it. So that's they can still share private profile with professors, employers, or anyone else by providing the public share link below. That's one way they can share. Or you can keep it all public, and if you go out there and unclick it the way it was before, Elizabeth, go ahead and
So I have
unclick
a
it.
question. When they click this, right? Does that mean if they give this link, then I can see everything in their portfolio, or just that one assignment?
Everything in their portfolio.
Okay.
So they could, if they click this, you could see everything in their portfolios. Okay. But, and then the bottom one, that's if they're not ready for employers to contact them yet, from finding their profile, then that's the one they keep unclicked, right?
That's the one that I learned firsthand. Like, you really do want to click when you're setting up. Like, Edlin's like smiling because she knows what happened to me. I set up a Portfolium account several years ago to sort of model for my students what a good Portfolium would look like. I just wanted to have it as a model out there. And within, like, I want to say 24 or 48 hours, I was getting like recruited for different jobs, and I was getting all these emails, and I was like, whoa, wait, I'm not trying to leave Palo Alto.
Yeah.
No, she called me the next day. She's like, wow, this platform really works.
It's effective. People will find you.
Which is great. All right, so
just
that's,
know that that's a thing to navigate.
and if you want to make sure, Elizabeth, scroll down to the bottom now that you changed that, and make sure you always want to update privacy settings. You see where it says down there?
Oh, yes.
That's like the save button.
Let
Okay.
me I'm gonna go fix this real quick, because I'm afraid I want to do that one too. Let me just update now.
Well, and honestly, I would keep the top one. They can't really see much with that top one unclicked. So I tell all the students, that's really for maybe a student that's in the middle of a project and they posted their draft, but they haven't finished it. But I definitely would keep the top one.
Well, I'm going to work on this first, and I'll unclick it later.
Okay, got it. Okay, perfect. And then now if you go up to the top, we'll go back to your home page.
Home page, okay.
Which actually that takes you to the Portfolium homepage, which since you're on there, I'll quickly kind of walk you guys through some of these features. So it always has, it's going to start to narrow as you post more things and you upload your resume. It's all based on algorithms. So it'll start to see some of your interest, maybe what you're teaching, your college, what other students have posted, and through algorithms, it'll start to aggregate information, and that will be what your homepage always is. So as you can see, there's always a pick of the week. These are projects that Portfolium picks. There's one pick every week. There's a staff pick. There's an expert pick. There are different things that will populate on this first one. Do you see how you have several tabs on your homepage? You have the home, you have the discover. Discover would allow you to look at other projects that are in the platform. Go ahead and click it. I'll just show you that really quick. This, you can search projects by areas like activism, agriculture, by art and design and business. So these are some of the ways to kind of look, and you can see all these amazing projects that have been posted. These are, like I told you, from universities all over the world. Just from looking here, you can see one is at Georgia State University. I can see that because it was on their report.
And
if
so
you go to,
are these like free for us to use also in our classes, like their ideas, or is this like no? But I'm just wondering how this platform is it for ideas for our classroom?
These are projects that they're being posted right now by other students and other universities. So you can always look through it at their everybody who posts any projects. You have to go through
good ideas. Okay.
Kind of how other professors are using Portfolio. And then if you go to the jobs, these are actual jobs in the area. You can search by company, by industry, job function, and then notifications. This is where you have a thread. So as you start to connect to people and your students, you can actually communicate with them from within Portfolio, give them feedback from within Portfolio if you wanted to. You'll get notifications from jobs here. And if you go to messages, that's the thread. That'll show you so you can compose a message. Do you see how that works? So it's pretty easy, but I wanted to kind of show you that. So to get to your homepage, you're actually going to click where that EG is.
Which one?
Where me says. Yep, go ahead and click there.
Oh, me? Okay.
And then view profile.
Profile, you said? There's my job setting.
It's right underneath your name.
Oh, view profile?
That takes you back to your homepage. So I'll let you come. So all of these parts, like we, as a campus, we've actually taken an initiative that we will go in and help students set up this homepage. And that's what we did. We went to hundreds of classrooms when we started this initiative to the EDUC 1300. My colleagues and I, we would go and help them set up this initial page. We're still doing the same thing now over Zoom. When we leave this first time, again, we want students to get like that hands-on experience on the tool where they actually are not just having this shiny tool, but they know the functionality of it. So we have them actually post a professional picture. They get to choose a background photo. They work on what's called a tagline. So if you scroll down, do you mind scrolling down for me just a little bit? So if you go to edit, go, You see how it says tagline? You see how it has a tagline? So this is where they can put their tagline. They change their profile picture. They change their background photo.
Let me do that. Let me do the tagline. What does tagline mean?
It's right there. A tagline is like kind of like a social this is more of that social media, right? The social networking part where something that defines them. And that's what we talk about students, right? And the tagline populates. That's the first thing. Anybody who's searching in our network, they see the student's picture, they see their major, and they see their tagline. So we help students kind of pick a catchphrase, right? And create a catchphrase that really incorporates some of their value system, who they are, what they want to be seen in this professional network.
So like, give me an example, because like I don't do social media, so I'm kind of like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and I'll show you.
I was about to say, I just dropped a link to mine. I've got a tagline on mine.
And
so
is it like a lot of words? Is it like a list of words or like a sentence?
Really? No, it's like a very quick, like, I don't know. It's kind of like your slogan. I think that's the best way I can think of it. So like, if you look at mine, at the very top of the page by my name and my background picture, it says "Lover of Rhetoric, Writing and Rescue Pets."
I'm going to share yours real quick.
There we go. Yeah.
Let's see.
So an example tagline could be like, "Your zip code does not determine your future." Like,
right.
Yeah. And here's a couple. I'll show you guys. This is our home network, and you can kind of see. Some of them are really simple. I'm a communication student with an eagerness to learn to create. Budding wordsmith, all the world's a stage, and all the women and women merely players. To live a creative life, we must lose our fear of being wrong. A lot of us students pick quotes. Pursuing my goals, explore the science of the mind through the eyes of the law. The world is in front of you. All you have to do is reach it. So you can see this is why this is so important.
Kind of like not a slogan, but something like catchy.
Yeah, and you can see that when someone's searching, right, by a member, they're going to see their professional photo, where they're going to school. This is one of our graduates he's got the coolest story, but we don't have time to share it today. But he started portfolioing with us. He was a mentor, and now he is employed with us through he came back, and he's an employee finishing his degree at Texas A&M. But anyways, you can see here, you see the picture, you see projects that they've posted, and you see the tagline, their major, and their graduation year. So it's really important. Their tagline is a big piece.
Okay, now I understand. I have no clue what a tagline is.
Yeah. I think, some people use quotes, some people write a little slogan, some people just have like a one-sentence introduction. It's just whatever you think is going to grab people's attention and sort of, give off your professional vibe, whatever that is. Or encapsulate the profession.
And it can always change. That's what we love about Portfolio, right? So it can always change, and we tell students, your tagline today could change tomorrow, and this is a living document, and this is the beauty of this digital document, is it can continue to change and morph with you as you morph as a person and as a student. But Melissa, I know you have some things to cover, so I'm giving it to you now.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and it looks like we got about 20 more minutes, so I'll try to run through this kind of fast. I hope I don't rush you. Let's see. Share screen. Let's see. Uh-oh, my presentation went off. Give me just a second. Let me turn the presentation. Okay. Hold up. There it is. There it is. I've got it. No, okay. I'm good. Sorry. For a minute, my presentation screen disappeared, and it was like, wow. Okay, here we go. Oh, technology. Okay. So if you go into the chat, you'll see that we've uploaded a couple different documents. One of the ones, the two that I uploaded for you guys are there's a sheet called Building an Online Portfolio, and there is a sheet called Final Project Instructions. The Final Project Instructions are just there as an example for you. This is one of the ways that I use Portfolio in my own course. I use it as a repository. I teach composition 1 and 2, and at the end of a two course writing sequence, what I like people to have is a portfolio of sort of examples of their work, of them at their best as a writer. And so that's how that's part of how I gauge the final course outcome. So that's just an example of a final project built around this platform. Take it, use it, revise it, discard it, whatever you want to do with it. It is yours. I'm casting it out like bread on the water. But the first thing that I uploaded for you guys is it's a 3-step process that I go through with my own classes once we all have a Portfolio account built. And, the purpose behind this sheet, because there is a tendency sometimes, it's like, well, I made the profile, and then they don't go in and add to it. And so the purpose behind this sheet is to push students to really think about the way they're presenting themselves online, and to think deeply about who they are, where they've been and where they're going, and how they want to communicate, what parts of that they want to communicate to outside audiences, and how they want to communicate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through this. It's actually a process that I went through myself as I was creating my own Portfolio profile. And I know that I linked that in the chat. So, you can look at the finished project if you want. I'm gonna walk through it as if I've never done it before with you guys, just because I think it's a good exercise, and it will also help you think about what you want to put up there. Like I think it works for faculty. I think it works for students. So we're going to focus mostly on step 1. Steps 2 and 3 are more class focused, I think. But let's look at the front of that sheet. So I'm gonna stop sharing the profile or the slides for a moment, and I'm going to share the sheet itself. So what I'd like you to do where you are right now is, you can either get out a piece of notebook paper if you want to write this out by hand, or if you've got a Google Doc that you just want to open up, or a Microsoft Word document if you feel more comfortable typing your answers. Whatever works for you as a primary drafting mode. And we're just going to walk through these steps. So here, let me share screen. Okay. So off to the left, you guys should be able to see a copy of the sheet. I've got it pulled up. It says building a strong portfolio. Does everybody see that? Okay. So this is the way I run through it in class, and we'll just run through it together. Step one is to really think about that introduction. So this is the first block of text underneath your banner and your profile and your tagline. There is a space for you to tell people a little general information about yourself. And so what I push students to do with this space is to really think about how they want to put their best foot forward to somebody who's never seen them before, who's just clicking through the site, and this is their very first impression. And so, because the tendency is to, we're tempted to just kind of say something like, hey, I'm Bill, I'm a computer science major at Palo Alto, the end, And so what you want to do to give people, that's not really our best foot forward. So what you want to do is give people a really robust sense of who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. So the first questions that I have people run through, and you see them up here at the top of step one, your portfolio introduction to use a photograph of your face. You've got to prompt students to do that because they won't otherwise, half of them. Use a photograph of your face and convey the following information: who you are and what you're doing, how you got there, and where you're looking to go next. And so the first question I have them think, and we're going to take a couple of minutes to think about it ourselves, what are you currently doing in regard to your career or academic path? And how did you get there? So I'm going to give us all a couple of minutes to draft out a few sentences reflecting on that on our own. And I'll do the same thing while we're working. This is just me writing off the cuff, by the way, just like you should be doing. Related question that the sheet asks is, how does your background make you unique? So, here's what I came up with on the cuff. I'm an assistant professor at Palo Alto College in San Antonio, Texas. I teach writing and literature courses. I came to this position after a career that has spanned media, 10 years in mass communications, K-12 teaching, and finally higher education. Each stage of my career has felt like a natural progression from the last, and all of my previous experiences as a writer, editor, writing coach, and I'm going to say finally teacher, feed my current practices in the classroom. I might go back in and edit this, but it's a start. Does anybody want to share what they've come up with on the fly?
We can't hear you, Elizabeth. Are you talking to us?
And sorry, I can't see the screen light up.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, go for it.
A similar experience. I started as a K-12 teacher and worked, like you said. When I graduated my bachelor's in science, there were no jobs, so I had to go back into teaching. Started with the young ones. There were no jobs in high school. Then went to the middle school. Then got my master's. I could teach at the high school and got my composite. Then got more graduate hours. I could go teach at the college. So it's been basically reaching up to this point. And eventually I'd like to be a full-time instructor at the college, but I'm still working on that. So kind of that same progression of trying to get to that goal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a story you can tell about that, right? Part of the challenge of writing these well, I think for both us and our students is, figuring out what that through line is. Like, what is the narrative thread that unites all these parts of your story? For me, it's that communication piece. Like from day one, and I feel like this is something I'm going to write real quick before I forget it. From day one, I've taken joy in the act of communication, in honing my own abilities and helping others hone theirs. I carry this forward into my classes or into the classroom. I don't know. I might go in, because I know I'm ending it the same way I ended the last paragraph. So I'd probably go in and edit that some. But yeah, you want to find a through line. Like, what is the thing that sort of narratively propels you through all these different stages you've gone through? What is your ultimate goal? Like that yeah, just, it sounds like you've got a sense of it. That's good. Okay. The second, I'd like to dwell on this more, but it's also like we've only got about 9 minutes. So this I'm going to move us on if that's okay. That's good. The second question to think about, in terms of the work or study that you do, what aspects of it are you the most passionate about, and why? And so yeah, we'll give it like 2 minutes, and we'll draft that.
Something we really ask all of our students when they're writing these introductions, and I'll also ask you guys, is transparency. That transparency is truly key. What we've gotten a lot of feedback from employers that are hiring students, and through this initiative, one of the first things that they say is, more than what we don't necessarily want, we're not looking for that finished product necessarily, but we're looking for students that are able to grow and articulate their growth, and are able to show the desire to learn and grow, right? So students, I know a lot of our students feel a lack of confidence in writing and some of their skills, and just to always tell them, doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be where you are right now, and don't be scared to say where you are right now. The good and the skills you still want to grow in.
One thing that stands out to me about this question is, I think it's really key in, I think identifying the thing you're passionate about is really key to giving outside audiences a sense of who you are. And it's certainly something we encourage our students to do, but as higher education people, it's not something that we are always encouraged to do in the same way. When you go through grad school, and there's this sort of detached academic professional language that you develop in order to talk about your research interests and your professional life in general. And so, it is kind of a nice exercise for us as faculty members to go back and really reflect on, okay, we know the head part of what we teach, but what's the heart that drives, what's in my heart, what drives me? So it may feel a little uncomfortable and awkward and vulnerable to put something like this out there, or some version of this out there, if you're used to presenting yourself in academic context. But, here's what I came up with. And you're free to share yours as well, or you can also keep it to yourself if it feels private or in process. What I wrote was, when I was a journalist, I felt like what I did was a calling, creating and nurturing a more informed, educated community. Teaching really isn't that much different. I love people. I love seeing them grow and mature as thinkers and as citizens of our state, nation, and world. I go there. I like to think that as a professor, I get to play some small part in that still, and that energizes me to this very day. It sounds a little bit corny, but, so I might go back in and edit a little bit, but that actually is me sort of speaking off the cuff from the heart.
Doesn't sound
you want to
corny at
share it.
all.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind. Would anybody else like to share what they can?
I can share.
Sure,
I am
go
a
for it.
nurse by trade, and this was my first kind of foray into academics. So I kind of feel like as a nurse, my calling is to be with people. I love teaching. That's part of what I do, teaching about a diagnosis or a medication or how do you care for yourself at home. And so taking this next step into the classroom to teach the next level of nurses for me was really a natural progression. It helps me to kind of, as you said, continue to be a part of that and kind of leaving a legacy for the next generation. It was just really easy to step into this next role.
Oh, that's wonderful. I hope some of that makes it onto your profile. I don't know if you're building a new one currently, or if if you're going to go back and do this, but I hope some of that makes that into your profile. It's really good. Really good reflection.
And you guys can see that
I'm feeling inspired.
Yes, and this is the amazing conversations that we are able to have with our students through this process, and they start to connect with each other. They start to share things that sometimes it's so much easier to write it and tell that story, and we're getting this incredible insight to these students, and they're starting to connect to each other and really feel part of a community and find in their peers so much of what their own identity might also be. And it's been a really amazing journey. So thank you all for sharing that.
And, I'd like to go through the other two questions, but I think we're right about at time. I want to be respectful of people's time commitments today. What I would just encourage you to do is go through the other two questions on your own as you're putting together your portfolio introduction. Think about your biggest professional and personal achievements. What are the things you're most proud of? And what are you looking for right now? In my profile, I explicitly say I am creating this as a model for my students. I think here, let me move down so you can see. I have uploaded a sampler plate of writing clips from various points in my career for students who are looking for an example of how to create a writing portfolio. In Portfolium, I'm also going to model some of the narrative writing that you can build around your project samples. So, I'm very explicit, I am here to show my students how it's done. You may say something similar, or you might have additional motivations for being on Portfolio, or Portfolio. I mean, maybe you want to network with other educators. Maybe you enjoy seeing your students' work, and you're looking for new. Yeah, I mean, whatever it is that's motivating you to be here. Be honest. Have fun with this. Reflective writing is a joy, and it's not often we as faculty members get a chance to just sort of pause and reflect on our own careers as part of, modeling for our students. I'm going to stop there.
Just real quick as we're wrapping things up, I just dropped in a survey link for on behalf of the TLC. The more data we get, the better we can, create these really great sessions. And just a big shout out to all of you. Thank you for attending. And this will be posted in our TLC YouTube channel. So thank you all.
I have a quick question. Once we answer all these questions, where am I putting this? I don't know.